Sweet. Let's talk about building a community site with WordPress. Get into it. So, like, why would we want to build a community site? And I guess maybe I'm getting a little ahead. What is a community site? The future slides make it clear. We're talking about bringing people online to talk to each other. So, and I'm assuming my audience here is users and customers of ours for Paid Memberships Pro, people who are running membership sites for associations or for their courses or their newsletters or their newspapers, their radio shows, anything. So people are using Paid Memberships Pro for membership sites. Membership sites has been like what we've done for work here for over 10 years. And so I've interacted with a lot of folks who've built these kinds of things. We've built these for customers. And of course, we build and maintain the software that a lot of these sites are running on. um, but again, like why I'm also like as part of this intro, I'm thinking Paid Memberships Pro itself is a website where you can download the software. You can get support from our support team through the ticket system. There's tons of documentation. We built these new uh, content hubs that I can walk through a little bit later. And we have tons of documentation and content on the website. People often ask us, like, hey, I wish there was a way for us to just talk amongst ourselves in the community. I wish there was a community. I'm in this other community over here on Facebook that feels very similar, but it's not focused on WordPress or Paid Memberships Pro. Maybe it'd be good to have a Paid Memberships Pro community. So we wanted to talk about these things with y'all. And I thought, hey, let me think in terms of the context of myself and my business and the members that we have. And I'm going to go through the thought process to figure out what kind of community I could build onto my website and my membership site. And these are the things that are on my mind. So why would I want to build a community site for Paid Memberships Pro? Why would you want to build a community site for your membership site? The number one thing is your members get value from talking to each other. Like you're delivering value, sending it one direction to your users and members. Usually, if you build a community, you're basically giving them a forum to chat with each other, get value from each other. It also gives them easier access to you. Like even if you say your email is there or there's a ticket system like we have, like showing up every day and chatting in real time in a system gives your members access to you. And it feels good. Like a lot of sites revolve around a personality or a group, and they're really buying access to you. So a community is one way to give them that. And then you get easy access to your members. That's one of the reasons we do this open office hour. So we like educating and talking about stuff that's on your mind. But we know that, hey, every other Thursday, it's on the schedule that we're communicating with our users in a live format. And if we had a really big announcement that we wanted to make, or there was something important to talk about, like it's already there. If we had a community where we're interacting every day, that's even easier for us. Like we're often in our work saying, I wonder what our users think. Or would they like that? Are they using this? What are they doing? And just be, if I had that thought and y'all were in my Slack channel or my buddy boss group, I'd be like, hey, what are you guys doing? And so the easy access to your members is another important aspect of like why a membership site would want to add a community section. So some things here. Let me get water. I'm 40 years old. My voice is not supposed to crack. Okay. So some things here. The ideal community solution is uh, where your members already are, mobile friendly, active, and engaging. And for these three reasons, I think one of the most popular solutions, we'll get into some differences between the solutions, but one of the most popular solutions for community sites was Facebook. It's like somewhere between 1 and 3 billion people use Facebook. And that's crazy considering there's only 7 or 8 billion people on the planet. So like most people are there. Facebook is definitely mobile friendly and active and engaged. The That's part of that is on the groups on Facebook themselves, like staying active, but the software, like we all know, is engineered by PhDs in psychology to get your attention and get you back into the apps. Facebook ticks these three boxes, but there's downsides to Facebook too that we'll get into. Um, when I was thinking about this in terms of WordPress solutions, I'm like, what I really want is like a site that's like Facebook, has all these features, but it is on WordPress. Let me Get back to my slides here. So basically what we're talking about is, again, this have like why we want a community. This is addressing why and the features that are important is members need to be able to chat with each other. Members need to be able to chat with you, and you need to be able to chat with your members. Like the chat interface is the most important part of this community. I'm thinking about software and platforms and systems and all this stuff. But when it comes down to it, I think like the feature of writing text online and transacting back and forth, hopefully with a good mobile interface, it's kind of what we're looking for software wise. There's some other bonus features that are good too. So I know the communities that I participate in and engage in, like having emojis and GIFs and being able to share files and integrating with Google Drive and all the other tools that we're using that can be important as well. But yeah, let's talk about some common problems with communities. Like I said, there can be complicated sign up processes. If someone's not already on Facebook, they got to sign up and turn over their whole privacy for the rest of their lives to a giant corporation. Or if you're using some of the other third party tools, it's like yet another account that you need to sign up for. So just making it as easy as possible for people to sign up. And then other problems are like it's a ghost town. If the community isn't engaging, if there aren't people showing up day to day, both on your team and your members, the conversation slows down and people stop engaging. So poor engagement, but there's also wrong engagement. And this is why it's important to have good rules and have good focus and have actual goals for what your community is. I said, "Hey, you want your members to talk to each other." That's the simplification of it. It's who are your members? What are they thinking about? What are they actually talking about? How can we focus the engagement? There's a joke on the internet that every successful site becomes a dating app. And I think if you run a membership that's like an association or a business or something like that, your community is not just a place for people to find each other romantically, right? So you don't want that kind of engagement. You don't want people getting in arguments. You don't want people misconstruing things. Another really big piece of this that I found in particular for the communities we've tried in the past around paid memberships pro is that every forum is a support forum. When we in the past had, we have the support forum here, but then here's the community forum, the chat. Over half the communication in the community forum was about stuff that's broken. How do I do this? Things of that nature that is, and we would, hey, you should go to the other forum to ask that. You should go to the other forum to ask that. Or when we participate in Facebook groups, they're like, Jason, I got your attention. Here's a bug. And it's like, hey, actually, like we fixed the bugs over on the support ticket system, stuff like that. I think for me, like when I'm thinking about setting up a community for paid memberships pro, if I do, it's like I it's crazy frustrating to constantly just be reminding people like, hey, this is for the support's over here. This is not for support. I think we need to embrace it and be like, hey, if you feel like this is the place to get support, we need to be ready to offer you as much support as we can in the context and push you to the right place when it's appropriate. Or probably better yet, if we're proactively seeding the engagement and the communication on the community platform, we're going to push the use of that platform in the direction that we want. So you need to come up with a plan. So that all said, like thinking about third party solutions, these are non WordPress solutions that people use for their community sites. We have Facebook, right? I said that's like really the big one that people liked. But like I said, there's problems with Facebook. I joke about how the privacy is an issue there. And I think more and more people are worried about the privacy concerns with using like a big platform like Facebook. And people don't necessarily want to talk about work or their hobbies in the same space where, people are arguing about politics. And so I feel like I'm hearing at the same time, I follow Facebook as a business and I see their user count is going higher. Their user count in the US is topped out. They're growing overseas, but there definitely is a wave of people who are like, I'm tired of Facebook. I deleted my Facebook account. I don't want to go to Facebook. I don't have it on my phone. And if your community is on Facebook, um, you know, it's good, challenging. A lot of people, your members don't want to sign up for an evil corporation to use your community. What are you going to do? There's other complications with Facebook. It's not terribly easy to integrate with technically. There may be solutions out there. We've avoided it for a while, building like when I become a member on PM Pro, I automatically get added to a Facebook group. As far as I know, that's not really possible. Even if it was, Facebook has a history of changing their APIs overnight because they're moving in a different direction. So these big companies are hard to integrate with technically as well. Discord is really popular, and so is Slack, and very similar solutions. They have really good chat, real time interfaces. They have emojis, they have GIFs, they have integration with just about everything. It's great mobile interfaces. I feel like the communities that I participate in tend to lean towards these two platforms. And one of the reasons is that it's on my phone. It bugs me. Actually, yesterday I was hanging out with my son and I got a Slack notification for work. There was like a very back and forth thread. And I was like, mute. And then I kept getting the notifications. And then I went into my phone notification settings and I said, don't notify me about this. And then I was still getting notifications, so I deleted Slack from my phone. And then when I was done with my son a couple hours later, I reinstalled it. So that's my struggle as an Android user maybe, but it's, hey, the Slack notifications are so good that sometimes you can't even turn them off, and that it can be annoying, like I just said, but it also drives engagement, which is what you want. And if you're staying on top of notifications, we love and hate them. Like, they're annoying when we don't want them. But if there's news or updates or people having a great conversation that I want to be involved in, getting a notification so I can get to it immediately helps the engagement. In the old web form days that were slower, it's like there's a day in between. The conversation is much slower. Things are much faster now. So yeah, Discord and Slack, they have really good integrations. There's integrations for PM Pro. I think the Discord one is a little better because you really have to use a paid Slack to use some of the features of the Slack integration for integrating with paid memberships pro. Circle is another really popular online community solution that maybe has too many features. I'm not super familiar with it. If people have comments or questions about that, share, but it's not a giant corporation, but it's, in my mind, it's not as singularly focused as like Discord and Slack are currently, and it competes with WordPress more directly. But I've seen a lot of people use Circle as a third-party solution. And all these third-party solutions, though, they have the same kind of problem, is that they are somewhere else. So back on an earlier slide, I said one of the most important things about your community is you want to go where your customers are. And like I said, Facebook used to be it, but now there's like a distaste for Facebook. Not everyone is there. And you're like, oh, but I could use Discord or Slack. Discord skews young. And so if you have an older audience or audience in the middle, there's not so many people comfortable with Discord. Slack skews older. If you have a younger audience, they're like, what is Slack? Circles like this new app. And again, if you think about going where your audience is, if you're running a WordPress site with memberships, people already have to come to your site to get your content, to check out, to pay you, to register, to interact with your stuff on your website. So likely they already have an account for your website. So they're already in. That's like greasing the wheel. So that's why I'm thinking, hey, I think WordPress solutions for community sites are going to come back in vogue because people are tired of some of these other solutions. And I think they're more willing than ever to sign up for like a private community that's smaller, because on the bigger platforms like Facebook and Twitter, there's noise. They don't want the politics bleeding in. When I'm talking about business stuff and some of the business communities that I'm in, I don't want like the peanut gallery of every random person on Twitter who just, is maybe or maybe not a real person chiming in on our conversation. And the tools to focus aren't great on those bigger social networks. And in the past, it was, hey, everyone's on this social networks. We should just use them. But I think more than ever, people want the experience of talking about one thing with a small group of people who are like-minded and focused on one topic. Like, we miss that. We're always like, I have to talk about whatever like the villain of the day is, or the news item of the day, or what's going on in the world. When you're on like the bigger social media platforms, when I'm in a community, I can keep that out and I can focus on the things that interest me more. So if you all here are building communities and building things with WordPress, I feel like now and over the next few years, this is like a really good opportunity to do so because there's demand for it. And so there's demand, but the other concerns about community sites, there's the tooling. What do we have? And we'll get in a little bit like how do we have to think about the processes and the things you have to do. And this is really high level. I'll keep going, but there's tons of really good content we'll hope to process and share through our newsletter. Impromptu ad to if you haven't, join our newsletter by becoming a free user at paidmembershipspro.com, or someone will drop a link for you. If you are a paying member, we do have a customer Slack. And so just go to paidmembershipspro.com/Slack. And if you're paying, you'll see the link to join there. Join our communities, talk to us. We're thinking about these things and we want to help you grow these. But let me talk about WordPress solutions. So in my mind, and I'm curious for other folks to tell me some things that I'm possibly missing. I'm probably missing, but the solutions that I'm familiar with and I'm thinking about are either BBPress, the forum solution for WordPress, or BuddyPress, which encompasses BBPress as a module, but adds other modules for groups and private one-on-one chats, direct messaging. It has an activity stream and perhaps like a better interface for chatting in real time. And then there's BuddyBoss, which started as a BuddyPress theme, but now is an official fork of BuddyPress and has a lot of similar functionality, but they really have a team behind BuddyBoss that's trying to make it like an all-in-one solution that has better UX and UI, has better mobile integration, has better integration with other third-party tools on WordPress. So these are the tools that I'm thinking of. Or of course, custom development. I build my own stuff, and that's always a possibility. Either starting with one of these solutions and building the features that are missing on top of them, or building something in. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Let me see here. I just got a couple more slides. So like I said, at a high level, there's operational problems. So I'm going to tie back to the tooling because that's what I want to do in the second half of this video is actually try to install some of these and play with them. But I haven't used these we use BuddyPress every day. Our ticket system is built on top of it. But BuddyPress and BuddyBoss, I only tangentially interface with when helping our customers. I haven't actually installed it as a user and gone start to finish how it goes. So I'm excited to try it and see where the feature set is and see what's lacking and where we need to fill the gaps. But again, operationally, some other problems you want to think about with your community site that maybe I can share a couple tips with based on my conversations with our customers who are building successful community sites. There's this concept like if you build it, they will come. And that's not really the case. So too often I see folks who are building a community site and they're like, I'm making a site for this group of people. I'm making a site for people who are interested in building community sites. And if you don't already have that relationship and that audience, I really thank and respect everyone who's watching this video now for our audience. But if you don't have something like that, it's really hard to build it and make it so cool that people are dying to come. So I've seen these community sites fail that way. Build your audience first. Make sure you have the audience or someone who has the audience and you can borrow it for them, or you have a marketing way you can basically buy the audience if you have a channel to advertise, or content marketing to gain the attention of these people before you try to build a community for them. There's also like chicken and egg incentives. And so this is for communities maybe that are directory based or, like the important part of your members are talking with each other. Maybe you have doctors and patients talking. It's like, how do you get the doctors or the patients in there? If you don't have one, the other won't come. Or if you have like business leaders talking, you want like the more experienced business leaders who know their stuff, and that's going to attract the young people. But actually, like those experienced business people, they're going to get attracted by having young people. We like to educate. All right, I'm identifying with the older folks. I like to share my knowledge and educate people. So if you want me to show up and no one's there, like it's going to be hard to get them. But if no one's coming, how do you get, folks to come? How do you get stuff like that happens? And then like another operational problem is it takes too much time, man. engaging with, this is related to that first one. If you build it, they will come. Even if you build it and they do come, they might not talk. If you're not engaging the community and prompting them and giving them things to talk about, it's just going to be like the ghost town where no one's talking. And if no one's talking, everyone's going to leave. So again, some possible solutions to some of these things that I've seen work. These are just high level tips to think about before you even get started building. Is the website and the community site is to build your audience first. So if you have an audience, great. If you don't, like, try to work on it. Build a newsletter, build your content on your blog. Like I said, buy an audience if you can find it, or actually go if you feel there's an audience you want to build for. Like, you don't have to build it from scratch. You can find someone who already has it and build the community for them, right? Maybe there's a YouTube channel that has 100,000 subscribers and they talk to your audience. Try to get in touch with that YouTube channel, the people running it, and say, hey, can we do a joint venture? Can I advertise on your channel? If I build this, do you think you're try to find the audience before you build? Free trials I've seen work. So if you have access to the audience, but you're charging $20 or $100 or $1,000 a month for your community, if people haven't seen the value and you have that chicken and egg problem of like, shoot, I need people here before it will attract other people, um, chicken egg issue, free trials can help with that. So I've seen some successful communities that were built where folks maybe were buying something else, like a book or access to a website or downloads or courses. And when you do that, you get free access to the community for 3 months, 6 months, or a year even. And then after a year, it's like, hey, is this going well? And you want to keep talking to your friends here? It's $20 a month, $100 a month. And even if you're not selling something first, if you do like a blitz campaign of, let me try to advertise and get 1,000 people into my community for free, and then hope that you mix them up and there's magic there. But they're not just going to do it on their own. You're going to have to, like I said, you're going to have to prompt them. You're going to have to give them things to talk about. And it depends on the community that there's tons of tactical things here that I'd like to find and share with folks. I don't want to spend too much time now, but the kind of important guiding principle is to systematize everything. So if you think, hey, we get really good engagement when we ask these kinds of questions, it's cool. It's like Question Wednesday where we go deep, or Customer Story Thursday, or like every day at 7 p.m. Eastern, whatever, we come here and chat about this stuff. That level of consistency, both in the timing I'm focused on, but also in like how you do it, makes things familiar for people so they know what to show up for. And again, remember, like, what's the goal? Like for you, like, why am I just building a community because I want someone to talk to? Or is this going to help my business? Am I going to be able to educate people more? Am I going to be able to help folks use our software? Like, what's the goal for them? Like, what's in it for them? Why would they join your community? Is it, again, is it really just 50% support? Maybe you got to figure it out. Like, hey, for some reason, people like this format of talking and we got to support it. Stuff like that. Just remember why you're doing this. Awesome. So I'll actually take some questions now, but later on when I'm building some things, this is what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking, like, should I launch a community for paid memberships pro? What should that be? Like, should we have like a customer Slack that again is basically where we invite folks who need real-time one-on-one communication around support problems they're having. We also invite development partners in there to chat with them in real time and have asynchronous or real time or asynchronous, have ongoing conversations with them. But maybe we can invite more people in there, paid or free members, and drive different conversations in there. Do we want to focus on one of our hubs? So we have a lot of use cases. If you looked at our site and go to paidmembershipspro.com/associations, uh, you know, for paying members, there's a hub that gathers all the content that we've produced about associations over the years and puts it in one place. Same thing for newsletters or courses. Like, we could build a community that's more focused on like a specific use case of Paid Memberships Pro. And I think that's going to help us with those questions of like, why are we doing this? What are people getting out of it? It's less about the technology and kind of about the broader subject of what people are interested in. And actually, for Paid Memberships Pro, I bring this up a lot with the marketing team. We have to think about this. Like, we simultaneously have these thought leader business folks who are developing courses and selling them. And for them, like, money is a very motivational aspect of what they're doing. They're like, I want to make money. I want financial freedom. I want to make money for ourselves. And at the same time, we have associations that are nonprofits that are have a mission to change the world. They're helping people. And whenever I say this to them, they're like, I like money too. And they're like, we need money to do what we're doing. And that's why we say get paid and help them do that. But in reality, like, their underlying motivations are not money. The business folks' underlying motivation often includes money. And if you put both of those folks in the same chat room, I'm excited about what's going to happen, but they might not necessarily get along or be able to help each other. And then we also have like, this Tooltip Tuesday, which is our coding gist that we send out just about every week, and tips about programming for WordPress. And they're like, hey, this might be an opportunity to build that. So these are things that are floating in my head.